See him a beast when he hear that sound like yeah, beat on the beat when he hear that sound like woo. Yeah, bitch on the champ only need one round like yeah, me, I'm a G-Ring.
Fighting at USKA 101 in good old Allentown, Pennsylvania on December 3rd. Please welcome my good personal friend, Matt Blair. Matt, brother, how you doing?
Let's go, brother. I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm great, man. We already went through all this. This is just the on-camera introduction, but good to see you again, dude. And we're less than a month out from the fight. You hype? How's the fight month energy?
3 weeks, one day, but who's counting? You know what I mean? Funny enough, I'm actually leaving for Mexico on Sunday morning, so I'm gonna get some like R&R. It's kind of like a weird one in between a camp. So, there's a funny story there. On September 30th, my striking coach Jeff Knapp, he actually shout out Black Sheep. He hit me up and he was like, USKA asked me if you wanted to fight, and I said that you would probably be down for it. So, do you want to fight? And I was like, fuck yeah, let's do this thing. You know what I mean? Been gearing up for it for the last 2 years, really. But he was like, all right, hop on the scale. And like literally the night before, I had like 5 pieces of pizza and like wings and soda and shit. So I hopped on the scale at like 180, and it was like the heaviest that I've been in like 18 months, which was, it was humbling in that moment. He was like, you're going to be able to make 160. And I was like, dude, I'll make 150. Like I can cut 25 pounds in a month. I know I can do it. And I'm sitting at 159 right now. So, I already cut 21. The guy that I'm fighting, he wanted 160. I wanted 150. We met in the middle at 155. But my next fight, I'm gonna I'm shooting for 145. That's really where I'm like most passionate about the record and my career and everything like that is featherweight, really.
Yeah, I mean, for most of you don't know, I know Matt from, we used to work out together at the gym. I always knew you as a very large bantamweight, or still a very large featherweight. So that's I was kind of surprised to hear this fight was at 155, but it's not like you don't have the size to back it up. Matt, let me ask you, what is your amateur record? Have you fought amateur before? Is this your debut? You don't have a Sherdog or a Tapology, so they got to get on it.
Agreed. Yeah, no. So this is going to be my first promoted fight. Obviously, I've done those jiu-jitsu competitions and all that good stuff. But yeah, really kind of dipping the toes into kickboxing. Our rule set is glory for this fight, but I'm pretty much down with any of the rule sets. I actually would prefer probably like K1, being able to sweep and catch kicks and really be able to hold on to those kicks is something that we train a lot, at least for my own skill set. And for this fight coming up, it's kind of you can catch a kick, but got to drop it and only have one strike off the kick. Or off the grab rather. So
weird.
There's some like nuanced rules to it all. We got to wear headgear for this fight, which I'm not in love with, but it is what it like. I don't train headgear. None of us in our gym train headgear.
Right.
So I'm gonna shoot for one of those like minimally invasive ones, not one of the not one of the big bulby ones.
Oh, with the cage and shit, it's hard.
Yeah, that's not for me. I actually just got my eyes tested, and so my the peripherals are 175 degrees, which is pretty good, honestly. Like 180 is being able to see like all the way to your ears. I don't even know if it's possible, but
wow.
Having the headgear on will be a new one. You know what I mean? But I'm down for all the challenges and everything like that. I'm confident going into it, man.
Love it, man. So this is a kickboxing fight, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So have you fought an MMA fight before, or are you 0-0 in MMA too?
Oh no, in MMA. That's really the goal, I would say, for 2023 is getting into the cage at some point, probably towards the end of the year. I'd like to get, I'll fight every month if you know what I mean. If I'm not getting banged up in any of these and walking away with concussions or anything, I'll fight every month. I pretty much stay on weight. The fact that I got up to 180, I was in Vegas and Miami and all these places kind of
water weight, bro.
And
water weight.
we had a little fun and gained some weight, but we're back down there. I know you saw on Instagram I was posting right out of the sauna, and so I'm getting cut up. Trying to find these last 10 will be a little bit more difficult in February, but we'll get it done.
Well, and you train at a very disciplined gym. You know, I'm going to know a lot of these answers I ask you. The people that are watching will not. So Matt trains at Bill Algeo's gym, UFC fighter extraordinaire, Bill Algeo's gym in
Billy Bags.
Billy Bags, King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So, dude, like, tell me a little bit about that gym. Like, what's the experience like training there? How have you been preparing for this fight?
So I think, kind of right off the bat, most people think that like UFC fighters are like all like ego driven and these like real tough guys. And, not that Bill's not a tough guy. He's extremely tough,
Very
but
tough.
like he's a family guy. His son is on the way. I think it's like only maybe a month or two out.
Wow.
His wife comes into the gym right at the top of the door before you even enter the gym. It says, leave your ego at the door. And
Love
that's
that.
pretty much something that we really, really incorporate into all of our training is, there's a couple sayings, just show up. You know what I mean? You got to make it into the gym to make progress. So just show up. And when you do show up, leave your ego at the door because we're all just trying to get better. So Bill is one of those, he's not one of those disappearing acts either. You know what I mean? Our man teaches jujitsu on Tuesday, kickboxing on Wednesday. He's in the gym. You're getting these real time looks from a UFC fighter. And, and he's got 7 inches on me, but he's also a featherweight. So that's an
Yeah.
interesting one. The sparring grounds with Bill have never gone my way, but you know what I mean? They're good looks nonetheless.
I mean, yeah, I've talked to Bill briefly on like Instagram. Seems like a great guy. You've had nothing but great things to say about him, and obviously, what we've seen from him in the UFC is nothing short of spectacular. So, I
Yeah.
can't imagine training with the man. And you're not supposed to win any rounds against him. Don't take that. Don't take that too close to heart. So,
Yeah, you know what? I don't really expect to. I'm trying to get better. I don't
right,
think anybody really cares about quote unquote winning the rounds. You know what I mean?
not in the
Uh,
gym. No.
exactly. At least not in our gym. I'm sure in other ones they're like, we're gonna go super hard and I'm gonna try to mess you up, but that's really not what we're doing. You know what I mean?
Well, that's good, man, and it shows to success too. Obviously, based off of the fighters in your gym. Now, let me ask you. I know, Matt, that you were injured for a long time. Happened when I met you, down and out in the gym, like can't train, can't grapple. You're better
Yeah,
now. Obviously, you're back to training. Tell me a little bit about that injury. Tell me a little bit about the recovery. Are you fully back in training now? How does that feel?
absolutely. Yeah. So, we got a couple more shout outs. Dr. Zabat at Premier Orthopedics. We've been doing some cortisone injections, plasma injections. So it's funny that we were mentioning Bill. So I actually I caught him with a body kick and then he ended up catching it. And, being so tall, he kind of lifted my ankle somewhat over my head. So the LCL went there back in the beginning of March. And
Mm, mm,
it took me honestly probably 4 months to really come back. So that kind of put me, I think it was like the beginning of July, maybe that I was like back in just, boxing. And then August, we were back to rolling really, you know what I mean? Like rolling and getting everything going 100% in August. And then, like I told you, like I was kind of husky. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like I came off the injury, I've been partying a lot. You know what I mean? But since I would say August 1st, we've really been, nose to the grindstone. And then especially since about September 30th, you know what I mean? So about the last 7 weeks, we've been grinding really hard. You know what I mean? I'm sure like you haven't seen, like I haven't been out, I haven't been posting on the stories. I
No.
haven't been going on dates. You know what I mean? I got promoted at my job. I work at SEI Investments. Got my MBA a couple of years ago, so kind of doing it all. But I'm online for work at 7 a.m. You know what I mean? I'm done my day at 4:30. I'm gonna go sit in the sauna, run, and then I'll go and spar. 3 times a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Get private training in with my striking coach, Jeff Knapp, in the middle of the day on Friday. So I'm in the gym at minimum 4 days a week, 2 hours a day, sometimes 5 days a week. So
Damn.
it's basically become more than a part-time job on top of having a full-time job, but it doesn't feel like it. I mean, I love every second of it.
Well, that's great, man. And it sounds like your opponent, Ruben Trujillo, has some bad news in store for him on December 3rd. Give me your thoughts on him. Like, I know it's hard to find tape on people sometimes on a regional scene. Have you found any
Yeah.
tape on him? Have you watched any? What are your impressions of your opponent?
Yeah, so he fought for Gut Check, and so one of my coaches, John Wonder, he's fought for two belts, I think, in the past year or so, for different promotions and stuff like that. But on his card that he headlined in March, Ruben fought a dude that another one of my sparring partners had fought in the past, Kevin Lovett, and he took an L to Kevin, and I thought it was pretty deserving for the win to go to Kevin. I did purchase the fight, and I've watched it, maybe 5 or 6 times, but
Okay.
my coach was like, ultimately, he's going to have changed in the past 6 to 7 months. So
Sure.
watching him and preparing for something from March, and it was his first fight, I don't think it's really going to do much. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so we pretty much transitioned from looking at his fights to, watching a lot of Mike Zambitis, who's a 17-time world champion out of Greece, and he and I are built almost exactly the same. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, my lineage is Greek as well, so just short,
Okay.
stocky Greek dudes, kind of getting
Bulldozers.
after it, brawling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we've been, taking bits and pieces from his game and trying to, work it into my game. I think I've got a couple tricks up my sleeve that I don't think Ruben's really going to expect from my body type, but I'm not one of those shit talkers, man. You know what I mean? Like I bring humility into everything that I do in my life. You know what I mean? Even in the gym, like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm 5'7", 150 pounds, but I'm still putting up 315, but I'm not running
Yeah.
my mouth about how, you know what I mean? How I'm putting up big weight and doing all this stuff. It's just, you either put up or you shut up. And that's pretty much where we're at.
100%, man. And yeah, for those who don't know Matt, dude, just a short, stocky, absolutely I like you're someone if a car ran into you full speed, the car would break in half. I don't know if you watch The Boys, but you're like a real life superhero. It's kind of awesome. And you are a very humble person in the gym. And I appreciate you saying all that. And I appreciate you having that attitude because a lot of fighters do not have that attitude. So it's refreshing to get in my Zoom call for once. Let me ask you straight up without giving too much away from camp and your game plan. Do you have a prediction for the fight?
I mean, I always believe that I'm going to win. You know what I mean? Like I approach that with every aspect of my life, in my job, in my personal life, in fighting. You know what I mean? If you don't go for it and you don't fully commit to it, you're never going to win anything. Whether, women, so you can't go up half-assed to anybody. You can always feel that. So I think Ruben caught a tough L to a dude that was considerably shorter than him. I think he's 5'10". I'm coming in at 5'7". I think his last opponent was 5'6".
Okay.
So, I think he's going to have some doubt in his mind. His coach really wanted this matchup with me, and there was no tape on me. And then I think some of the pictures kind of came out, and I think maybe they're rethinking it a little bit because I don't think necessarily I was who they thought that I was going to be. But that really remains to be seen. I'm also trying not to come into it overconfident either, because anything can happen with a long dude like that. I'm sure he's been picking his game up. I like to think that I'm bringing 1,000%. You know what I mean? So if he's bringing anything less than 1,000%, it's going to be a rough night for him.
Love it, man. And like you said, I mean, 5'10", you said you're 5'7". That's not
Yeah.
that big of a height difference. So I don't know what he's expecting, but I've stood next to you. I'm about 5'9", 5'10". You're not that short. You're a pretty freaking big guy. I wouldn't be going in there like, oh, coach, we got the reach over this guy. That be like, oh, coach, this guy's legs are like refrigerators. I don't know what we're going to do here.
And like ironically, my striking coach, he always says that I have ape arms because like the bottoms of my fingers almost touch my knees for whatever reason. I just
Oh,
have long
really?
arms.
Oh, that's
And
nuts.
I got short legs but long arms, you know what I mean? And I got a low center of gravity. So good for grappling. We're gonna see if it translates to striking as well.
I think it will translate well, my good friend. So let me ask you, you get this W, you're 1-0 in kickboxing, you get your MMA fight, you win that down the line in 2023 too. What's like your kind of like near future career goals? Like where do you see yourself in the 2 to 3 year span of your MMA mixed martial arts career? Like I don't know if
Sure.
UFC is realistic that quickly, but how do you kind of envision your ladder, your steps getting there? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I just turned 28, and there wasn't really much mileage on me. Like we're gonna call it like a past life. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Undergrad, going into grad school, getting a job. Like I was always lifting and all that stuff, but I didn't start fighting until I was 24. So there's no real mileage on my chin or anything. So
Right.
while I'm not rushing it, I'm also, I'm trying to pick up these W's. I think what's really in the forefront of my mind is I really love kickboxing. Not having to necessarily worry about somebody taking you down. So like I train with there are pros that come into our gym from like 767 Gracie, Christian, and then we got Cody Russell too from Balance. He trains with Petrosky, who's on this card coming up, and like Cody and I will get some rounds in, we'll be sparring, and then all of a sudden he'll just pop a takedown, and I haven't been able to defend one yet. I think it kind of goes to Cody's level of talent, but also when you're training with these pros, you're getting looks that amateur dudes just aren't really giving you. So I think to answer your question in kind of a roundabout way, I've got Cage Fury on my mind. You know what I mean? If I can get there in the next 2 years, like if I could get on to Cage Fury when I'm 30, I think that's a good goal. There's some other regional MMA. I guess what would you call MMA
Promotions.
companies, promotions? Yeah, that I'll probably have to go through a couple of those to get to Cage Fury, but if I show out in my kickboxing career and maybe come up 3-0, 4-0, 4-1, whatever it is, maybe I'll get an expedited look at Cage Fury. But that's where my eyes are set. Even if I could just get one fight in the Contender Series or the UFC way down the line when a 33, 34, I can die happy, tell my kids, hey, I made the UFC for 1, 2, 3 fights, and I got in there, I got out, and caught a couple checks.
Dude, I think that's totally realistic, man. Like Cage Fury, I think you could get in Cage Fury if you're like 1-0, 2-0 as an amateur, dude. They have an amateur program as well as a pro program. So like I think that would be the route to go. I love Cage Fury. I love interviewing those fighters. They had a great show last night, another show next week. Yeah, man. It's a great promotion. So I think that's a great start for you.
Billy Baggs fought a couple times for Cage Fury. I know he caught an ROC belt, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's a bunch of talented promotions in the area. I mean, Philly it's a fight city, bred strong, and I'll take whatever comes my way. Back to the humility aspect of it all. It's just I truly love fighting. I do well in my finance career. You know what I mean? I'm not fighting for the money. And I understand there's a lot of different aspects for these dudes they feel like there's a lot on the line. I got to win to pay my bills and stuff like that. I'm not in that position. I'm chilling. You know what I mean? I get online at 7. I'm done by 4. I got my dogs at my house. I own my house. I own my car. You know what I mean? Like my days are chilling. I go to the grocery store and like I'm eating probably 6 pounds of red meat a week, and then like 3 pounds of chicken, all kinds of stuff. Like I'm my own dietitian. I can afford to do it all the supplements and everything. And, I think that kind of contributes to my confidence a little bit. I'm not worried about what's on the line. Really, it's just, pride and love and everything like that that's on the line in these fights for me.
I love that, dude. And I think you should definitely stick with this MMA stuff because you got the mic skills. You got the camera skills too. It's right off I've talked to you in person, but I've never been screen to screen. Some people just don't have that, man. You got that glow. So keep shining, brother.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I would love to, when you told me you were getting into the interview, I knew like into the interview game, I knew you were going to kill it. And
Thanks,
I haven't missed one of your interviews yet. And I'm even more stoked to be a part of it. You come with the right questions and you make this easy.
Appreciate it, brother. I told you, be nice and laid back. Just put on a smile and talk. It's cake. I only got like 2 more questions for you here, Matt, and then we'll get out of here. But we've been in a good mood talking happy fights the entire time. Let me switch it up a little bit because fighting is not all happy, right? It's luckily you don't have to, rely on the financial side of the sport, but the sport in general still it's a very physically, mentally demanding sport. I mean, you guys have the highest of the highs, the lowest of the lows, like whether it's after a loss or a bad day at camp or even like an injury like you just went through. What keeps you going when you are going through those like losses, like when you're down and out and like, dude, screw this fighting game? Like what keeps you motivated and inspired, so to speak?
Definitely. That's a tough one. I think with my friends, even with some of my coaches, there's a speaker, David Goggins, who I know a lot of people are familiar with out of the Marines and Special Forces and all of that stuff. And he goes into in one of his TED Talks, the inner voice inside your head is not who you actually are. It's basically like a mechanic of evolution to promote like living, basically not dying. And so this voice in your head's like, you can't do this. You shouldn't do this. You know what I mean? Preserve your life. Don't get hit. And so you kind of have to approach it with this top of mind. I know that there's a voice inside my head that's not the ego me. You know what I mean? And so really it comes down to saying certain things out loud. When you have these negative thoughts, audibly saying to yourself, that's not really what I believe. That's not really what's going to happen. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do these things and counteract the little voice inside of your head. So that's step one, is to really recognize that the voice inside your head is not who you are. It doesn't have the same goals that you have. And I know that's kind of metaphysical or whatever you want to call it, but that's something that really helps me. I think I notice it the most when I'm running. You know what I mean? Like I run 2 or 3 5Ks a week now, and I hit mile 2, and I'm like, I fucking hate running. I can't. I should just stop right here. My knees hurt. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
then you just keep going and going. And you know, the dude that lives with me, he runs and he can run a 10K no problem. You know what I mean? So we're going
Wow.
around these laps, and he's like, just come on. You know what I mean? And like, well, we
You're
get
like,
there. So yeah, exactly. That's exactly what's going on. And then I get to the end of it, and I'm hyped that I didn't listen to the voice. We met those goals, you know what I mean? And we progressed on from it. And then the second part of it is just realizing that not every day is going to be a good day. Not every day is going to be a win. You know what I mean? There's so many corny sayings. You got to experience the rain to appreciate the sun, or, you know, experience the lows to appreciate the highs. It all basically means the same thing. And it's just kind of taking away this micro perspective that we put on everything. Oh, I had a bad day today. I'm going to bring it home and ruin the rest of the day. To just, I had a bad day, but I got 20,000 days ahead of me for the rest of my life. And I'm not going to let that one tag on to the next day. You know what I mean? We cut every day off when we fall asleep, and then we got another 85,000 seconds in a day or something like that to make the next one a good one. And that's pretty much kind of what I try to bring to the table every day. I think if you ask my coaches, they've probably never seen me walk into the gym in a bad mood. I leave that shit at the door. And, you know, I try to just bring my best. That's the one thing that my dad asked from me growing up my entire life, grades, sports, and everything. Just do your best. He was like, I'm going to be pissed if it looks like you're not trying. The man would scream at me from the sidelines, flat feet, if I wasn't running hard enough, or, you know what I mean? If he didn't think I was putting in enough effort.
yeah.
And, you know, those are the things. That's how we counteract those low lows to really appreciate the high highs, you know?
Yeah, man. I love that perspective. That's a great attitude to have. So let me ask you one more, like, a daunting question, so to speak, about the regional scene, because you are a regional fighter in, you know, not as like big of promotions yet as CFFC or UFC, Bellator. Obviously, there's a million promotions out there. You're fighting for, you know, smaller kickboxing promotions just to get your name out there, just get the experience. And you're at a great gym. But what's like your biggest challenge, or I guess your biggest gripe with the regional scene? Because Pennsylvania, Philadelphia area, such a hotbed for MMA right now. And I still talk to plenty of fighters, and they're like, regional scene still has all these issues where I'm fighting the same 2 or 3 guys. So like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So, I mean, that one's kind of tough for me to answer beyond this. I really wanted to fight at 150, and they couldn't get me anybody at 150. So, you know, I'm taking this dude down from 160. He doesn't really want 155. I don't really want 155, but 155 is where we're at. So I don't have enough experience to say, oh man, like there's the same 3 guys coming in and out. You know what I mean? I will say, you know, when we get this dub against Ruben, I would love to see Kevin Lovett and get that dub back for one of my boys that I spar with all the time. He and I are about the same size. I think I can beat him at 145. I think he kind of likes the 35-40. But you know, if he can come up to 145, I think that would be a fun fight to make happen. We got similar styles. As far as the regional scene, you know, with Bill headlining our gym and the UFC talent and the pros that we got coming in from Balance and 767, even Delaware at 302, and everybody, you know, we have Trouble in once a month, and he's bringing his guys up. I think promoters kind of know that we have talent in our gym, and they want us slated against their fighters from some of these other small gyms. So my gripes probably aren't the same as some of these other guys coming from smaller gyms. Like I said, I'm really here to take whatever's coming my way. I love fighting. I love being in the gym, and I'm in it for the love of it all. I'm not in it for the money like we were talking about. So, no gripes really for me. I just want to get out there and show out and show what I'm all about.
I love it, dude. And I love that you're bringing this positive energy into your fight on December 3rd. USKA 101, it goes down. Matty Blair, that's all I got
Hey,
for you today. Thank you so much for joining me, dude.
thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Of course, brother. I told you I'm hopefully going to get a ticket and I'll get you that sweet, sweet beer so you can fatten up afterwards.
Yeah, we'll do a shoey. If I catch the dub, we'll do a shoey.
Say less. You gave me a sound bite for a call out this interview, and then you're going to give me a shoey for a video clip. You support me
We got
endlessly.
it all. Absolutely, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will link his stuff below. Matt Blair, thank you very much, brother. Have a great day.
Peace.